Forgiveness isn't about saying what happened was okay. It's about deciding you don't want to carry the poison of resentment anymore. I remember a friend once told me that she was holding on. She thought holding on was protecting her, but it was really keeping her tied to the pain. So that's why forgiveness is for you and not for them. What forgiveness really is and what it isn't. Forgiveness is freedom from bitterness, but not erasing the memory. It doesn't mean you have to keep everyone in your life either. My aunt once forgave her sister after years of tension, but she told me I forgave her in my heart long before we ever sat down to talk. That's when my peace came back. So I think that's key. Like sometimes we um we forgive the person long before before we sit down and talk, but I think that's because we decided, we make a decision, we make a choice to forgive. And when you make a choice to forgive, you forgiving the person long before you talk. And sometimes you may not even talk to the person, but you know in your heart, like, you know what, I've released them, I've forgiven them. The myths about forgiveness that keep us stuck. Myth number one: forgiving means forgetting. Myth number two: forgiving means reconciling. Myth number three: forgiving means that they won. A client once told me, I thought my ex, I thought forgiving my ex meant letting him back into my life. No, it meant that I stopped letting him control my emotions. So, yes, forgiveness doesn't mean that you have to let the person back in. Forgiveness is for us. So it's for our own freedom, our own peace of mind. But it doesn't mean that you have to let them back in. And it doesn't mean that you forget either, and not that you are keeping score, but you are setting boundaries. That's how you set clear and, um, clear boundaries for yourself, where you say, you know what, oops, I remember this. I remember this feeling. I remember how this person made me feel, and I'm not doing that again, you know? And and forgiveness doesn't mean that they won either. You're winning because you forgive, because you choose to forgive. Step number one: acknowledge the hurt without sugarcoating anything. You can't heal what you won't name. Acknowledge the hurt without sugarcoating. You cannot heal what you will not name. My cousin said that she finally wrote a letter to herself about the betrayal that she had experienced. She said that seeing it in black and white made her realize it was real and that it really hurt. So sometimes it's just, even if you can't articulate it, with words like coming out of your mouth, get a journal. I forget the name of this online journal that I found. It's a journal app and I love it so much. I can't believe I can't remember the name of it right now. When I think of the name of it, I'll post it in the comments. But even if you have to type it, type it in your online app, your journal app, but type it. But when you see it in black and white, it becomes real. You can say like, you know what? Ooh, that hurts. That hurts. So you can't heal what you don't name. So once you put a name to it, once you verbally say it, once you type it out to get it all out, then you can start to heal. Step two: letting go of waiting for an apology. This is so key. Some people will never say, I'm sorry. Some people just won't do it. It's not in them to do it. They don't want to do it. They're stubborn. They think that their way is the right way of seeing it. Their perspective is the right way. And so you can't let your healing depend on them. I knew someone who waited 10 years, y'all, 10 years for an apology from her father. She said, I realized that during that time that my life was on hold when he moved on like nothing ever happened. Like he moved on, her dad moved on like nothing ever happened. But because she held on to that unforgiveness for 10 years, she was stuck. Her life was on pause, all because she didn't forgive. And I can identify with her. Like, I had a father who, rest in peace, dad. He died 2 years ago, I'm sorry. But I had a father who was on drugs and alcohol most of my life. And so as a result, he had given me so many empty promises, so many I'm going to be there, and never came to pick me up. Um, so many large moments or huge milestones in my life that he wasn't there for. He wasn't there for my wedding. He wasn't there when I graduated from high school. So many milestones, right? So many things that I could legit just not forgive him for, because he just didn't show up for me. Um, but I realized that, um, you know what? Like, I have to forgive him for me, because as long as I keep this stuff pent up inside of me, like, my life is going to be miserable. I'm going to be so miserable because I'm holding on to something that I could let go. And I realized, you know what? He's human. He only has a certain amount of capacity that he can give me, because he didn't grow up with his dad, so he didn't know how to be a dad. Not that I still didn't hold him accountable, but I had to release him. I had to release that unforgiveness. Step number 3, separate forgiveness from reconciliation. Forgiveness can happen without keeping someone in your life. I'm going to say that again. Forgiveness can happen without keeping someone in your life. My friend forgave her former friend for a huge betrayal. She said, guess what, Kimberly, I wish her well, but she doesn't have access to my life anymore. So, it goes back to that saying that Maya Angelou said, that when someone shows you who they are, you believe them. So my friend, after a huge betrayal, and I'm not going to, name what that betrayal was, but it was a huge betrayal. And she said, I wish her well, but she will not be a part of my life ever again. And forgiveness can happen. Again, forgiveness can happen without someone still being a part of your life. Step 4, practice small acts of forgiveness daily. Start small, like the driver who cut you off or the coworker who just snapped. Start small in that forgiveness. One woman told me that she started forgiving, with the small things. She didn't realize how much daily irritation she carried until she began to let things go. So, and those small daily irritations are things like people cutting us off while we're driving, or people not using their signal, and that's annoying and irritating. People having road rage, and we carry that daily irritation with us. And so we have to begin to let those irritations go, and start small. Start small with, forgiving the driver who cut us off. Practicing small acts of forgiveness. Step number 5, use boundaries as a tool for healing. Forgiveness plus boundaries equals peace that lasts. You hear me? Peace that lasts. My neighbor told me that she forgave her mom, but stopped discussing certain topics with her mother. That's how she kept her peace and her relationship, she said. And this is key. Like, you can set boundaries by, limiting what you talk about with certain people. And they don't even, and the funny thing is that you don't even necessarily have to announce it. It can be a boundary that you're setting in silence, where they don't even have to recognize, like, you know what? It's certain topics that I'm not going to share with my mom anymore. It's certain topics that I'm just not going to share with that friend anymore. And I'm okay with that, but that's how you can keep the peace in the relationship and peace within yourself, and still hold on to that relationship. Step number 6, forgiving yourself first. Self-forgiveness releases shame and regret. A man told me that he forgave himself for ignoring the red flags. He said, I realized I was mad at me and not just her. So sometimes we have to forgive ourselves for things that we've done or things that we've allowed to happen in our lives. And realizing that, wow, like I not only had to forgive that other person, but I got to forgive myself too. Like making space to forgive yourself too. Step number 7, releasing the story and not the lesson. Don't keep replaying the pain, but take the lesson and not the bitterness. So you can say, you know what? This is the lesson. This is what this pain was supposed to teach me. But I am releasing that bitterness. I'm not taking that bitterness along with me because that's too heavy. I don't know if you guys have heard that song by Erykah Badu, "Bag Lady, You Gonna Hurt Yourself," carrying all those bags like that. Like we can um take the lesson, but we ain't taking those bags. We are not taking that bitterness and all of that with us. My friend said that she stopped retelling the story of what happened. And when she did that, it lost its power over her when she stopped reliving it, she said. So, how many of us we keep replaying the pain over and over and over again? And a lot of times, guess what? We replay the pain because it's comfortable. It's something that we have become comfortable with, but we gotta disrupt that. So that it can lose its power over you. When forgiveness feels impossible, therapy, prayer, journaling, talking to safe people when forgiveness feels out of reach. I knew someone who prayed every night, God, I want to forgive, but my heart just won't catch up. It took time, but it happened. So sometimes forgiveness or wanting to forgive, it takes time for some people. Some people can forgive right away, and some people it takes them time. But the key is to hold in space with that person without judgment, not judging them because it takes them time. But they're in secret praying to God, saying, God, you know what? Like, I want to forgive this person or I want to forgive myself, but my heart is just not catching up. Like, it's not catching up with me yet. And it took time, but after the time that they needed, it happened. Forgiveness isn't weakness. It's choosing freedom over carrying what hurts you the most. You deserve peace more than you deserve payback. So we're not trying to pay other people back for how they've caused us pain or how they've hurt us, because that's an entanglement that we don't want to engage ourselves in. It's a bad use of our energy. It's bad energy. But we deserve peace. We deserve peace. And so forgiveness brings us peace. If this video has helped you in any way, I want you to share it. But most of all, I sincerely want to hear from you in the comments. So come to me and talk to me about how um, you've chosen to forgive. Talk to me about how forgiveness may be hard for you and your heart may not be catching up at the moment. But I want to hear from you. If this video has helped, I want you to share it with somebody else. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.